What would you work for? Or just work?
Wisconsin, we don't really have a homeless problem, I guess to say. So when I came out here to San Diego and LA, San Diego really wasn't like this either, like 4 years ago. So the first time I came to San Diego was 4 years ago, and when I was here was, you know, almost like paradise. So when I came back here, I wasn't even expecting this. And I got back here, right, and I saw all this. I had like almost a $2,000 bike got stolen on my second day, and I was running around this place at night asking people like, hey, have you seen this blue Trek, you know, Gary Fisher edition bike? It's got the signature on the front, and everyone was giving me, you know, giving me leads to, you know, nowhere. You know, they're just like, hey, if you give me 20 bucks, I might know where it is. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, whatever the heck. And so, you know, I was kind of dancing around for a few days trying to find this thing, and then I got really kind of interested in just what the heck's going on around here. So, you know, I totally just forgot about the whole bike thing, and then just through talking to people, I started to connect with all the people here, like, you know, that are building bikes or just, you know, making it work with what they're doing, selling whatever. And you know, like some guys are selling little bracelets out on the street or whatever the heck, and just learning where they came from, why they're here, and like the whole situation, like what's really at the bottom of this crisis. Is
you can't tell the homeless that because people won't really believe it, but there's more homeless resources here than there really is in a lot of other cities don't have the problem just because of logistics. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in Toledo, Ohio, you can't be homeless in the winter. You'll die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they already have stuff structured, you know, in place for that. When winter comes around, you know what I'm saying? They obviously get go to shelters, and you know what I'm saying, they sleep for the night, and then they really sleep, and then you're on your own during the day, I guess. But you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, severe weather cities have already, you know, say they had foresight. You know what I'm saying? So they already have those things in place there.
So what made you give up teaching? Why did you?
Oh, because it's not what I went to school for. I was doing that if I could have a job.
Okay.
At the time.
So what did you go to school for?
Media film.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. In LA or something, or?
No, I finished. I went to San Diego State.
San Diego State.
Yeah,
okay.
That wasn't my original plan, but I ended up. That's where I ended up graduating.
Wow.
But you know.
So what part of the film industry were you most interested in? The writing, the acting, the directing? Like, what was your?
Behind the camera.
Okay, so you were like cinematography, kind of, right? Kind of.
I just carry camera around.
Wow.
For the news. For the local news.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's pretty sweet, dude. Wow. You're the first homeless guy I met. That's wow. That's crazy. Huh. So what besides news, do you have any other stuff on your resume? Or mostly news stuff?
Just music. Music's really my love.
Oh, music. Okay. So what?
I never like. You know, say it's hard to like give that a full shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
My mom was very educational, or she was a principal. So she was like, "Oh, make sure you have a job." You know what I'm saying? But you can't like. You can't like do half and half. You know, so you can't have one foot in your dream and one foot in.
You can't even have 9 of your 10 toes in. You know what I mean? You got to have 10 toes in, because if you don't, then there's one guy that does, and he's gonna beat you. You know, so that's the name of the game. It's all competition. So if you're, I mean, you can still be 10 toes in and lose. You know what I mean? But if you have 9 toes in, you're guaranteed to lose. But if you have 10 toes in, you have a fighting shot. You have a shot. And but it's such a tough thing to do, especially today, you know, with technology and all this stuff you see on the internet, because you can basically do anything you want at the touch of a fingertip. You can go to Bali at the touch of a fingertip. You can see what it's like working in a factory at the touch of a, you know, just touching a button, touching your screen. And so
you don't need those years and years of like lessons and stuff like that. But this guy did a whole thing on 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he said you can learn any skill in 10,000 hours now on YouTube.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? You might not be as, you're viable. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? You might not be like, you know, the guy who was born with like the gift, and you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
had formal training from the time he was 3. But that guy is becoming less and less marketable. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yep.
not looking for that guy anymore.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Cause
Exactly. Yeah.
we can automate all that. And we can, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Nothing. Try to. I always try to think of this, but it's so hard. It's so hard because it's almost like the world just isn't made for something like that. But I always try to think of something that is future proof. You know, whether that's a cart, whether that's a wheel, whether that's a shoe, whether that's, you know, whether that's clothing. You know, what's future proof? Like, what will never go away and will always be.
I tend to believe, maybe I'm old school sometimes, I am old school, but I truly believe that you ever been around somebody who's just, I mean, it's like super, they're just talented.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
talented from day one.
Yep.
I always think true talent and genius will it's survival.
Okay,
It's survival.
okay. I could see that.
I
So
know that.
through, you know, mankind's existence, like that is one thing that wouldn't. It's always
Yeah.
your genius and your dedication and your talent and your skill set defines every person
Absolutely.
all the time. No matter if you're talking about Babylon or if you're talking about, you know, today. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. I would probably agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's also a genius, you know what I'm saying? There's a certain genius to learn, you know, figuring out how to circumvent that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
And so you have, you know, like, that's kind of like what's going on nowadays. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of that going on. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of what exactly? What do you mean?
People circumventing, you know what I'm saying? Because the smartphone is just amazing.
Yeah.
Kids nowadays they have no idea how far ahead of the game that puts them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Having answers. You know, we used to sit around and argue about crap all the time. You know what I'm saying? Smoking weed. Oh, no, that's not how we get. No, you know, you can shut it up. Let's just Google it.
Yeah.
Just find out. You know what I'm saying? Find out the answer right now.
Yep.
I mean, that puts to rest all the misinformation and all, you know what I'm saying? People embellishing all that kind of crap. You just Google it. And it's right there. You know, so I'm so old that, like, you got to do a report. You got to go, like, Britannica, you know,
Yeah.
encyclopedia, dude.
But even you were talking about before, like, you really love music, right?
Yeah.
You know, back in your day, even like 6 years ago, you know what I mean? You to produce a song,
Yeah.
you used to have to have this massive studio, and it had to all been sound treated. The wood had to have been, you know, some certain type of wood. It had to have, you know, had every type of instrument you need. So you needed a bass, you needed drums, you needed all the microphones to be able to record it all. And nowadays, music's very synthesized, you know, because of technology and because of the 80s and
MPC player,
yeah,
Dr.
exactly.
Dre, you know what I'm saying? And
It's
so
it's basically you can be a one-man show now. You know what I mean? And now for today, for, you know, 2022, you even have zero-man shows. People make music through softwares of like AI things. You know what I mean? They're not that. Yeah. Okay.
You know, shit. I started taking piano when I was like 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And, you know, I was a little bit of a prodigy for a while, but you know what I'm saying. But one of my best friends, he doesn't play anything, and he makes a grip of music.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you have a friend? Yeah. Is he on the streets or somewhere else?
No, he's not on the streets. He lives at the Jasmine over here. He was on the street though.
Oh, but he's in San Diego.
Yeah,
you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, he's in San Diego. Yeah. So, you know.
So what does he do now? Does he?
He works at a towing company, and he's still, you know,
towing company.
Yeah, he's still making beats like on the side. And
that's pretty sweet. Wow.
You know what I mean?
So he's one of those.
He hasn't really, you know, turned into anything yet, but you know what I'm saying? He keeps at it. You know what I'm saying? He probably could. You know, you can sell songs. Everybody's looking for beats now. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone
make beats. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
yeah. Because everyone's a rapper, a singer, whatever these days. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. It is a business, you know, making beats. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's where everybody, because everybody wants to be the next, you know,
Dr. Dre or what? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Because that's exactly what Dr. Dre was. He was the guy making beats, signing people.
His timing.
Yeah.
Timing. that kind of endeavor
Yeah.
is more than anything else. You look at people who get credit for inventing stuff, and then it wasn't, they probably didn't even come up with the idea first, but they just happened to be at the right place at the right time and got the credit for it.
Yeah, and when we say time, we're really talking about like era, you know what I mean? Because are you the first to the party? Are you the second? Are you the 10th? Are you the 500th to the party? You know, because that you know, take Elon Musk for instance. Now I know that I could make billions off of making an electric car company. Well, I'm gonna go do that, right? But wait, there's already tons of electric car companies. It's such a competitive environment now. Plus you got to pay the, you know, 200, you know, K salaries for all your engineers. And it's like, you know, it's too late now to the party.
It sure is.
It's too late to the party. So early to the party was like 2005, you know. And so, but that's
what squashing when they were squashing all the rumors and shit. You know
yeah. So
this is what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Showing up to the party early means the party one does not exist. You have to make the party. It's such a hard place to be in because there's $1 billion out there right now, right? But it's invisible and no one can see it. You just have to see it and create the party, and then invite yourself and be the first one to it.
First one, or the second one.
Where's the church by here? The Alpha Project or whatever it's called?
Straight down the street.
You go straight?
Yeah, straight down. It's gonna be the last thing on your right.
But
or like my specialty is maybe not the originator, but taking what this guy has.
Okay, so almost like using what you know to help others in their creative endeavors, kind of, right? Is that what you're saying? So like you know, a teacher, basically what a teacher. That's basically what a teacher is. Yeah. So,
Yeah, well, in this country we got to change that. We got to turn that around too. Like, we need
what around? What do you mean?
Teachers, just.
Oh, teachers aren't
respect to that
appreciated.
Field. Yeah.
Okay.
And so where it attracts, like, you know, what I'm saying, you're the cream of the crop. You know, what I'm saying, to get in that field, you have to just love it to get in that field, really, because it's not something that, you know, what I'm saying, it's probably the most noble job I think anybody can do, but it's not. You're not gonna get rich doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
hear you.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, everybody, people who can do that, you know what I'm saying, whatever, but those minds are turning to, you know, law, obviously, medicine, and other stuff, you know, text, you know what I'm saying? Data text and all that, you know what I'm saying? You got to get in on that somewhere, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's where everything is at.
Yeah, that's where the industry is at.
Google doesn't make anything like hardcore, like, you know what I'm saying? Pliable,
yeah, you're right. like the
richest guy in the world for, you know, software, which is, you know what I'm saying?
The era of tangible things, I think, is over. Yeah, I think it's very much over, which is so weird because I think it's embedded into our existence as mankind to make tangible things.
Absolutely.
Once you take that away, we can't. We're creating, you know, we're creating air. We're making air. We're manufacturing air, and I think because of that, it's, I don't know. I think it's destroying our humanity. I really think it's
absolutely.
Because this is such a weird time to be alive. You know what I mean? It's this. We're on this crux of technology superseding.
Just think, we won't be a petroleum-based society, world society, in like 10 years. Petroleum will be out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're trying, but that's still like a. I still think that's a far-fetched idea, because you know, the whole planet consumes like crazy. Every single person is a consuming vacuum. So, you know, because of that, I just don't think, you know, we would have to have a turbine per quarter mile on, you know, the entire world to be able to, because oil has such a high
viscosity and stuff, but it's,
What it has a high
what do you call it?
per-
Energy burn rate,
yeah.
energy to work.
Yeah.
What do they call that? In science, I know what it's called too. But yeah, it does. But
it's very
start researching the whole battery technology thing, and like what people don't realize is like you're on your everyday Duracell, like the D battery, whatever C battery.
Yep.
They really can make that thing to last as long as they really want to.
Yep.
But there's just no money in making long-lasting batteries.
Oh yeah.
Eventually,
It's the same with tires and everything.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
cannot make a business. That's what makes businesses, running a successful business is all about how can you create quality that also fails, but doesn't
At a reasonable rate.
doesn't disrupt your reputation, right?
Absolutely.
It's such a it's a tightrope walk.
It is.
Because let's say Michelin or whatever makes really good tires, right? But they're also competing against Firestone, Goodyear, Bridgestone, right? So if they create a tire that lasts even 1,000 miles, less of those guys is prone to blowing at 49,000 miles, right? Then guess what? They're going to be out of business.
Or 1,000 or less, 1,000 miles more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Then they're not going to sell as many as they could, so they're losing out on all that money.
Yeah.
They pay guys millions of dollars to figure that stuff out.
Absolutely.
How to make it fail, but make it last. It's weird.
The whole quality thing.
Which sucks, because think if we didn't have to deal with that. Think if we didn't have to deal with greed,
Profit margin. It's unrealistic to have your profit margin always be tilted at 45 degrees.
But think of where society could be if we weren't limited by our basic instincts as humans. You know what I mean? What if we really actually cared for every single person?
Absolutely.
We could create a tire that could last almost forever. We could create a battery that would be,
That's
impervious
the great
to.
part in the flaw in capitalism. Capital open market. You know what I'm saying? It lends itself to.
But is it necessarily capitalism, or is it capitalism in the hands of people like people just
every government form works as long as people in power have the interests of the people first.
Yeah.
King and queen, a dictator, doesn't matter. The dictator works as long as he's doing dictating on behalf of the people. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying, but man is fallible, you know what I'm saying, and power and all that kind of stuff is, I guess, intoxicating and all that kind of stuff.
But if they're not, if the person is not convicted by something higher than themselves, then they're prone to corruption of any sort.
You see it time and time again from caveman, you know what I'm saying, and we started living in groups, you know what I'm saying. Who was running the show? Probably the guy who no one could whip his ass. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying. So he's protecting everybody, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying, after a while, you know what I'm saying, one day he realizes, man, you know what I'm saying, well, with this skill, I actually can get like a little bit more than I have coming to me, probably. You know what I'm saying? And therein lies the flaw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his at the start it was okay, but then by the time day 2 came around, his ego started to become.
As soon as he changed skill set for a symbol. They say money's the root of all evil, but I mean that's huge to me. That and what we call it colonization also was like one of the worst ideas man ever had. You know what I'm saying? Land somewhere.
Oh, you mean like
claiming in the name of the queen? You know
okay, so
a mile away from your.
So colonialism, right? Yeah,
colonialism
kind of.
It's a horrible idea.
But
you didn't discover anything because there's people already there.
Yeah, but think that's also embedded in us as humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something.
Owning the land,
because we're well. Think about this. Think about this, right? It's even on a level with the homeless. because you have homeless guys moving into another guy's homeless area and setting up a tent, and it's like, hey, that's my turf. So it's the same thing, like a guy sailing to an island claiming it's his, and there's all these natives there just that have been living there for like 1,000 years, and he's like, no, this is the Queensland.
So then it becomes a power struggle.
It's the it's the.
And then he was more industrialized and all that kind of crap.
So.
And in the village, everybody was equal. You're a good hunter, I'm a good farmer. So I trade vegetables for meat. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
Keep everybody on the same plane.
Exactly.
But,
and we're all just trying to help the town we're in. You know, I ain't trying to get rich off selling meat.
To some little coin or something.
You're right.
Then it became, I don't need a skill. The skill I need is how do I get more coins than you?
Yeah. Not how can I be a better hunter to provide more nutritious meat to the people in my town, but how can I make it so that I'm selling the same amount of meat or less for more money, and then it's all about sales. Now it's all about sales, not actually giving a valuable product. So how can I convince these people to buy my meat so I can buy the whole town?
So it throws the whole equity thing off, you know what I'm saying? They all men are created, you know what I'm saying? So because you can't do both, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't be a hunter and a farmer. You have to choose one or the other, whatever one that you naturally were good at, you know what I'm saying? Building huts or whatever it was, fishing, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it was. But they were minute and specialized, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, the jungle's rough, you know what I'm saying? You can't just be bouncing around the jungle doing what the fuck you want. You can get eaten up by something. So, you know what I'm saying? That whole survival thing is, you know what I'm saying? But somewhere along the line, you know what I'm saying? That gold thing came into play, which was funny, you know what I'm saying? Because to a lot of
it is really strange. You're right. It is really strange. Like, how did we?
A lot of cultures
how did we
thought
convince?
gold was like useless because it was at the time. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know about it was the best, you know, conduit, you know, metal, but the electricity wasn't. Well, maybe it was, but you know what I'm saying? Most cultures.
Yeah,
we tossed gold to the side because it wasn't like you couldn't make no weapons with it.
Yeah, you couldn't.
It was trinkets.
You couldn't make computers. You couldn't make.
You couldn't do shit.
Because for our.
But then you had a society land there that gold was their standard of you know what I'm saying, their monetary standard.
So how is it then that we convinced ourselves of coins and gold rather than trading? Why did we? Like, how did we convince people that this gold can buy you a mansion? Like, how did we convince ourselves of that?
Probably because the societies that were running off the gold standard those civilizations were either more industrialized and then.
But that's what I mean. How did they convince themselves of it first then, before spreading it across the globe?
That's
like, where did the first seed?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is strange. Because you're right, at the beginning we were all traders. We were just trading and hunting and surviving. And then something came, you know, an idea popped in someone's head. Yeah, so it's weird. Huh.
I've had my own thoughts on it, but mine's just, you know, it's just a far-fetched guess, though. But, you know what I'm saying? It definitely came from cultures that were indigenous to areas that weren't bountiful and fruitful. So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you're indigenous to Hawaii, it probably took a long time for somebody to convince you because everything's so plentiful there.
Yeah.
But
why would it matter? Yeah.
Yeah, if you come from a place where it's not so plentiful and shit is hard to come by, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna be, you're gonna think, man, you know, maybe that might be better if we go to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm having a hard time, you know, getting any meat because there's just not herds of buffalo running across the plains and shit. It's like one mountain goat, or you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's like 8 families vying for that one mountain goat, you know what I'm saying? And
not only to keep warm, but to eat, yeah.
You know,
they would use every single part of it. The bones, you know, the eyes, the meat, you know.
Yeah. Even when it was plentiful, the Indians definitely did. There were more bison and buffalo roaming around, you know, so you could throw a stone at, you know what I'm saying? But they still were like very respectful, you know what I'm saying, and very efficient, you know what I'm saying? And that's how, you know what I'm saying, we that's how we settled the land, you know what I'm saying? We settled the shit, we killed off their food source, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just ridiculously. I mean, slaughter, just wastefully. You know what I'm saying? But you having to make a, you know what I'm saying? That's another balance thing that's hard too when there's technology, you know what I'm saying? Because the railroad's coming through.
Yeah, Yeah.
You know,
Or the highway, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the, you know, the landing strip for planes, or the,
Now,
yeah.
common sense will tell you that they didn't need to slaughter thousands of buffalo for a railroad to come through, but
Yeah.
that was the boat they sailed
But
on.
see, that's still colonialism, you know what I mean? So you're right. That all stems from colonialism, because colonialism, somehow they trick, you know, they can trick, you know, cheap Chinese workers. Hey, if you build this railroad for us, which in their mind, if they get this railroad done, they own the transportation that is moving from west,
Commerce.
you know, west coast to east coast. They own that. And therefore, what else do they own? They own every single thing that's being moved. So they instantly solidify their place in the trillionaire world. You know what I mean? Those guys. And what do? They convince, you know, a cheap labor force, hey, we'll give you like 90 cents an hour, which is, you know, probably a lot of money in the 1800s. They're like, hey, we'll give you 90 cents an hour. 90 cents?
Well,
Holy cow! I could buy a house with 90 cents an hour.
They see the
And
big
so
picture.
then they all join in, build this railroad, and buy their house, right? But now they've made these men trillionaires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
That's what I'm saying.
it's
It
the-
didn't even have to even be cheap labor. It could have been fair wages. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's working for the day, and they're working for the long haul.
yes, exactly. And
Government
that's,
seems slow. The government's on the late legislating the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's too late.
yeah.
Kind of like we were with the internet. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And launched it without even really thinking about
Yep.
repercussions and
Yes.
down the line.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they were even talking about that stuff in like 1999. You were live for that. And do you remember what that sort of felt like? Because everyone was talking about when 99 was moving to 2000, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
This is going to be it. This is it, man.
Yeah, no one had made space for you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I remember celebrating the millennium, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And things went just like they normally do. You know what I'm saying? My watch didn't stop ticking.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly,
And so therefore computers didn't stop working, they just kept on doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? I guess it was a natural logical progression, but you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of that was bolstered up because we're always dealing, especially here in America, dealing in fear. You know what I'm saying? The economy is always, because the public is fearful of something, the economy is always strong. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you can keep people in fear, then
hand in hand.
then the machine will keep churning.
That goes hand in hand.
If people,
It's a weird phenomenon. I don't know how they explain that, but the numbers are like black and white. Show that.
Really?
So, yeah. That's why we were always, you know, the swine flu, bird flu. It's always something imminent that's going to kill a breed from Africa. There's always something imminent that's going to get us. You know what I'm saying? But
so then therefore people are stocking up on turkey.
whatever
They're stocking up on chicken because they're like, oh my gosh, the bird flu took out the turkey, whatever. So I gotta buy a turkey.
Yeah. Just like the formula. If you're a president, you want to be president during wartime. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Your history is laid out for you. And, you know what I'm saying? For all times. You know what I'm saying? And economy is strong during wartime also as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? George Bush was like, Jr. was like blatant about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, gotta come up with something. We need a war. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they create one. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know, but the numbers, you know, those numbers don't lie. So that's a weird phenomenon. Yeah, it is. And so, you know what I'm saying? Land of the free. Free is a subjective word.
Yeah.
At best, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm glad to be American. I'm glad I'm here. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of things just kind of fell in place. You know,
Yep.
We got two big oceans on either side, so we don't have to deal with a whole lot of shit. Other countries. I've been to Europe like twice, so it's just a whole different feel there. The rest of the world trying to become more westernized. Even Asians who know better, you know, we know that they know. You know what I'm saying? And they're very structured and they're very smart. You know what I'm saying? But in our country, what you know what I'm saying? What's the big thing? You know, Levi's, jeans, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Cadillacs, you know what I'm saying?
You're right. Yeah. Or any.
And the young kids are moving towards that, you know what I'm saying? But they really don't realize how special they are. Europe's the same way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But socially, they're like eons ahead of us.
Yes.
Like we still have like primitive problems here.
Yes.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right. You're right. They're,
Society-wise, you know what I'm saying? With primitive thinking, you know what I'm saying? We're still hooked on this color thing. We're still hooked on, you know what I'm saying, protecting yourself. Yeah, your Second Amendment is viable. When there's a frontier and the rest of the part, you know what I'm saying, the rest of the country isn't settled yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But once you went from coast to coast and you started becoming an industrialized, you know,
Yeah.
society, huh? You know what I'm saying? It worked in the Wild West, but that's only because, you know what I'm saying, they weren't metropolises. You know, and I guess they were in New York and San Francisco to a point, you know what I mean? But, you know what I'm saying? But it worked how it's supposed to work. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't just pop off on somebody or just like, because everybody had a gun, you know what I'm saying? You see it on their hip, like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Because that was the
Right.
law of the land.
there was a lot of land, so
You
it,
know.
you know what I'm saying, it garnered like a lot more tolerance and a little bit, you know what I'm saying, you had to think twice before pulling your steel, because you know what I'm saying? Somebody, you don't know where it's coming from, you know what I'm saying? This guy might have a buddy right there, right, you know what I'm saying? You don't know. So, it worked there, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying?
Even
The
the
numbers are scary, like,
yeah.